Today, I want to revisit one of YouTube and TikTok's most viral microphones, and that's going to be the Neewer CM28, which actually I have right here. This is the breakout video that I made. It's how I've gained most of my subscribers, and honestly, it all stemmed from one really weird night. I didn't know what I was going to film one week, and I was scrolling through Amazon and I was like, man, maybe I'll just find something that looks cool. And I stumbled across this. That's like 5-6 months ago from today. Honestly, I didn't really expect a whole lot from this microphone. I think I paid like 90 bucks for it at the time. And with that, I expected it to just be some cheap knockoff of like a DJI mic or something similar. And honestly, I've been really surprised. But what I want to talk about today is this microphone still the best budget microphone, especially with all the other ones that are on the market? Now, this video is not sponsored. Nobody is imposing their opinion on it. So everything that I say is going to be how I feel, my own thoughts, and that's pretty much it. If you guys want to stick around and see what I have to say, then go ahead and do so. Now, the Neewer mic and I go way back, and honestly, my dog is even part of this story because funny enough, this is the only thing that has actually survived my dog because I have actually had to reorder some parts. I bought everything the first time, made a video, it was great, and then my dog ate everything except for the microphones themselves, and then I reordered the bag and all of the accessories, the wind mufflers, etc. Dog ate them again, so we're 2 for 2. Not gonna reorder them because honestly, I don't know that any of those things are a necessity considering kind of like I have everything else. I have USB-C chargers, I have 3.5mm cables, I have pretty much everything minus the double dead cats. I still have one of them, so it's good enough. If I wanted to make up multiple people, then maybe I need to reach out to Neewr again. But hey, Neewr, if you're seeing this video and you wanna hook me up, you guys already have my address on file, so go ahead and send me out some more if you're watching this. If you were to buy this brand new, let's talk about what you would actually get. So for starters, you would get this nice suede bag, you'd get all the cables that you need, 2 dead cats, and then you would also get this charging case. And inside of that charging case, that is what holds 2 transmitters, 1 receiver, as well as these nice little smartphone adapters. Those are kind of cool. Everything is powered by USB-C and it charges pretty decently if I say so myself. There's a lot of inspiration from this case that was taken from the DJI Mic 1 case, so there's going to be a lot of nods to that throughout this video. Now this is where things are going to take a bit of a turn because we're actually going to be comparing this microphone to the Hollyland Lark M2 as well as the Godox Magic X-T1. This microphone has honestly sparked a lot of interest on YouTube, and this microphone is easily by far one of the most popular compact microphones on the market today, and there's really good reason for that. Both of these microphones are amazing. They both come with very similar things. The Hollyland, again, it comes with a bag, it comes with the charging case, 2 dead cats, a bunch of different cables, and then within this charging case, that's actually where you get both transmitters and the receiver. However, this case, unlike the Neewer case, doesn't house the smartphone cables. Instead, it doesn't use cables for that. It has these little proprietary adapters that sync up directly with the transmitter, so it's kind of like one less thing you have to plug in. But you do have to remember not to leave them behind because I'm really good at doing that. The Godox, very similar. It has a premium carry case, so it doesn't have a soft bag, but the receiver is what's really cool about this because the receiver actually charges both of the transmitters. They just kind of clip into the back. That's something that's really cool, at least in my opinion. All 3 of these microphones do feature 2 different mounting styles. They all have a magnet of some sort, as well as an option to clip it to your shirt or jacket in my case. Now, kind of what sets all of these different microphones apart is kind of what I really want to focus and hone in on because the features and the differences in all 3 of these are where everything starts to change. This is where you're going to see why the Neewer is actually the cheapest of these 3. And I'm not going to reveal the price just yet, but if you do want to skip ahead, I can't stop you. I'm going to have timestamps throughout this video, so if you want to check ahead and see what they all cost, you can do so. It doesn't hurt me any, it just hurts you. You lose out on this part. The Neewer CM28 is a budget-oriented mic. That's kind of where we're going to focus on this video. And because it's budget-oriented, unfortunately, Neewer cut some corners, and some of them are a little bit more detrimental than others. For example, right out of the gate, the Neewer is only 16-bit, and that's kind of crappy because the other 2 microphones are 24-bit. And what that means is when you are in a really loud environment or a really quiet environment, and your audio messes up, you can't really recover it with the 16-bit. So unfortunately, Neewer loses some points there, at least in my book, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not too crazy impressed with 16-bit audio. I've tried using this microphone for multiple videos, and in the event that you accidentally set the gain levels either too low or too high, you can't really correct it. The Neewr does make up for this though, with the fact that it actually has internal recording, something that the other microphones don't. Specifically, it has 4 gigs of internal storage. So in the event that you maybe don't plug in your microphone, or maybe you want to record something without plugging it into your camera, you can easily do so because of that internal storage. Now, it is something you're going to have to sync up in post, so it would be really ideal if you had like a scratch track. In a lot of cases, if you just plug this in and then you still start up the recording, then you can overlay it and it works just as well. What's really good about that is in the event that you are recording from a distance, so say you're doing something where someone else is holding the camera and you're walking and talking, if you accidentally step out of range, because these wireless microphones do actually work at quite a distance, I want to say they're all above like 650 feet. I think the Hollyland is the farthest working range because it's like 1,000 feet or something. But the Neewer CM28, in the event it does disconnect or maybe there's some sort of interference, having that internal storage is what's going to save your butt. All 3 of these microphones also feature some various form of noise cancellation. However, I can't recommend it because honestly, none of them are really good. In my humble opinion, I'm gonna say that the Godox and the Hollyland probably sound a little bit better than the Neewr, but not by a whole lot. Like, the Godox sounds pretty decent, and all things considered. The Hollyland probably sounds the best of the 3, and even then, the Hollyland still sucks. They're all mediocre at best, so if you really want to fix your noise in post, that's gonna be the way to go, you know, film without the noise cancellation. However, if you do wanna use it, they all have a one-click system, meaning that for most of them, you just press the button on the side of the microphone, it enables noise cancellation, and then it works. However, you can't ever undo noise cancellation. You can always add more in post, but you can't ever take it away. So use that information sparingly. The receivers of these things are where things also start to ramp up, because really, the Neewr is even more impressive in this stance because given its price point, it actually has an LED screen similar to the Godox. Now, the Godox is a touch screen. You can swipe through all the different modes. You can make adjustments on the fly. The Neewr, it's not a touch screen. It just has buttons, so you can see things like your battery, your connectivity, as well as your gain levels. That's it. It's not too crazy complicated. Then the Hollyland, for being the most expensive of all of these microphones, has the fewest features. It only shows you the gain levels, which there's only 3 steps to it. And then additionally, it only lets you change the track type from mono to stereo. That's it. The Hollyland is super basic, so if you want something that you can just slap on your camera and it works, the Hollyland might be the best bet. However, if you want a few more creature comforts, if you want to see features, if you want to adjust the different separate audios of your microphones, then maybe go with the Godox. And if you just want something that kind of works and it's the all-around middle of the road, then maybe the Neewr's for you because it has the screen and it has more features than the Hollyland. However, it doesn't have all of the features. Because the battery performance varies by microphone, the easiest way for me to do this is just to put all the information on the screen. The battery performance on all 3 of these microphones is surprisingly good. They all last at least 6 hours at one point or another. They can all easily be recharged via the case. The Godox is going to be the one where it's kind of weird because the case is the receiver. So eventually you're going to take away from the receiver's battery life, whereas all of the other microphones, so the Neewr and the Hollyland, if you want to charge the receiver and the transmitter separately, you can easily do so using the charging cases that are included. Now, the last thing that I really want to talk about, and this is what sets all of these microphones apart, is the size, the form factor, the portability. And honestly, just right off the bat, the Neewr is the largest. It is very reminiscent of the DJI Mic 1, which I actually bought and reviewed and then returned because I didn't have a great experience with it, and that's a story for another day maybe. But the Neewr is the largest, it is the heaviest, and it's not a bad thing. It actually has the option to plug in a lapel, so if you wanted to, run it up your shirt or your jacket and then clip it onto your collar, you can easily do that and make it a little bit more discreet. Whereas the other 2 microphones, the Hollyland and the Godox, they don't have that option to plug a microphone into it. However, because they are so small and so lightweight, you can just mount them to your jacket. You can mount them inverse, which means you only see the magnet on the outside, and that is a massive, massive bonus in my book. I mean, transportability wise, they're all relatively similar sizes. I think the Godox and the Neewr and the Hollyland are all good in their own respective ways. However, the Godox without its bag, without its premium carrying case, is actually the smallest of the 3. The Neewr is the largest of the 3 as far as cases go. But then when you do want to protect the screen or the transmitters, because there is nothing protecting these at this point in time, you have to put them in the premium carry case, and that carry case is actually now larger than both of these 2, which is really all you need. But anyways, you guys want to hear how these microphones sound, so we're gonna go ahead and start out with the Neewr. What do you guys think? This is the Neewer CM28. It's going to pick up a lot of the bassier tones of my voice, a lot of the mids. This is going to be a raw audio track, so I'm not going to do anything. I may tweak the gain just to make everything more, in line with the other two microphones. That way it's a very fair test. But other than that, this is just how it sounds. I have it plugged straight into the camera. Not really going to tweak the settings between the different microphones because I want this to be a fair, comprehensive test. But what do you guys think? So what do you guys think of this one? This is the Hollyland Lark M2. Again, we are going to use the raw audio. We are not going to adjust anything other than the gain just to level out all these tracks. Make sure everything is even. This is a square test. I don't want to skew the results one way or the other because this is not the point in the video where I give away my opinions. That's going to be later. But I don't know, what do you guys think of the audio profile? I think this one focuses more on the mids and high tones of my voice, which makes it sound a little bit more true to tone. This is probably how I sound, or at least how I think I sound in person, but I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure my wife would correct me if she watches these videos, which she doesn't. Now last, but certainly not least, this is the Godox Magic X-T1. Again, like the other two tracks, this one is going to be raw and unedited. I may adjust the gain just to make everything more in line with the other two tracks, but that's it. I think that this flatters my voice a lot. I think it is a very well-rounded tone. I think it favors a lot of the highs as well as a lot of the lows. So maybe it doesn't favor either. Maybe it just works. Maybe this microphone is just good. I don't know. But anyways, that's enough yapping inside. This isn't going to be the best environment for all these videos. Instead, you're probably going to want to use them outside. So let's see how it sounds then. This is audio from the Godox Magic X-T1. So this microphone, as you can probably not see, is actually mounted on the inside of my shirt. And so because of that, it allows me to be discreet with my placement of it. It's a little bit more incognito than something like the DJI or Rode microphones, which are a lot larger. The Neewr microphone, which we're also testing in this video, is unfortunately going to have to be tested on the outside of my shirt because it is so large. And I don't believe that you can actually inverse mount it like you can with the Godox and the Hollyland. So if you're looking for something that's discreet, then maybe one of these two microphones is going to be right up your alley because of the mounting. So what do you guys think of the audio? This is audio now coming directly from the Hollyland Lark M2. There's some stuff going on in the background. We are at a park. There is obviously going to be some noise. However, again, I am not going to be testing the noise cancellation. So this is just going to be raw audio. I have it inverse mounted on my shirt, similar to the Godox. So what do you guys think? Does the audio quality sound good? Does it sound bad? Have you picked a favorite yet? Because I think I have. And I'll tell you guys at the end of this video why I picked that favorite, and maybe you guys will agree with me. Okay, look, so now we are using the Neewer CM28, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this probably isn't the most fair comparison because this one is actually mounted on the outside of my shirt. The other two were mounted on the inside of my shirt. The reason that you can't do this one is honestly because it's too bulky and because of the mic placement and a bunch of other factors. This one picks up a lot more noise than the other two microphones, and partially that's because it's 16-bit versus 24-bit. So as I explained earlier, the other two microphones are a little bit more premium than this one, and because of that, it's a budget alternative. If you want something and you're on a budget, the Neewr might be the best option. However, for a little bit more money, you can go with either the Lark M2 or the Magic X-T1, and honestly, both of those will probably be a better choice. However, this one has internal recording, whereas the other ones don't. This one also offers a lapel input, so if you wanted to, put a wire up your shirt and, be a little bit more discreet, because again, this one is a larger microphone, you can do that, whereas the other two are just clip-on microphones. They have different mounting options, but they're not really the same. Honestly, this one is really good in a lot of ways. However, it's not the best option. So you guys are probably hearing a little bit of wind. I didn't bring my wind muff because unfortunately, if you guys watch my shorts, my dog ate the first one. I got a second one from Neewr sent out to me. And then my dog proceeded to eat it a second time, even after moving it to a different location. So unfortunately, I don't even have the carry case for this microphone anymore. I just have one of the microphones. The other one has some bite marks in it. I don't have both wind muffs. I don't have cables. I have the charging case, and that's about it. So it's kind of hard to do these tests now, especially when I'm missing some parts. And now we're really overexposed. So I think that's where we're gonna wrap things up and go back inside. Now that we're back inside and we've seen the audio both in studio and outside, what do you guys think? Which microphone are you leaning to at this point in time? Is there one that sounds better to you? Is there one that doesn't sound as good? At some point in this video, you've probably made up your mind. And if you haven't already, that's okay. That's completely normal because you're probably concerned about the price. And that's really one of the biggest factors when purchasing one of these microphones is obviously they cost some form of money. Now, I'm just gonna be blatantly honest. these microphones do vary a little bit in price, and depending sometimes on the sales, some of them may not be good values. So that's just being transparent. Honestly, if the Neewer is on sale 24/7, it is normally the cheapest. However, the Hollyland, when it's not on sale, is the most expensive of these three. The Neewer actually starts at $129, and sometimes it can be on sale for as low as $80. The Godox is $129, and I've seen it for as low as $109, which is a major bonus. And then the Lark M2 is $179, but I've seen it for about as low as $139. I want to say when I bought it myself, I paid $140, $150, so that was an added bonus for me. But honestly, even at the $189 price point, it's really not that bad. Now I know I said the price isn't that bad, but the Hollyland in some ways is a little overpriced, especially given the fact that both of the other microphones have better receivers in my opinion. If you want something that's just bare bones, it works straight out of the box, then by all means, that's fine. However, the Hollyland microphone receiver doesn't actually have a way to monitor your audio in real time, which is kind of a deal breaker for most people. You know, if you're filming and you want to see what your audio sounds like, there's no way to do it. But that's about it. I mean, it sounds really good. I love the form factor, I love the size, and I love the fact that there's no branding on the front, especially when you put the little stickers on that are included. There's a sticker pack, I don't know where it is, I lost them all, but I made sure to put the little black overlays on, and you know, now it's a no-name microphone, even though it's from a really reputable company. The Neewer, which is the specialty of this video, is also a really good microphone. However, they're a little large. I mean, if I'm being honest, this is a little bulky. If I wanted to mount this to my shirt like we did earlier, then, you know, it just sits right here. It's kind of big. It's kind of an eyesore. I don't know that I'd want to mount this inside just given the sound profile. So with the other microphones, as you saw when we went outside, you can inverse mount them. This microphone just doesn't work the same. Like, the microphone is strong enough with this little magnet on the back. However, because the microphone is only 16-bit, if you screw something up, you don't really have a lot of adjustability to fix it. That leads me to the XT1. I'll be honest guys, I'm super biased. I really love this microphone. This is something that I, really wanted to get at one point, especially when I saw everyone else buying them. I did have a little bit of gas, which is called gear acquisition syndrome. It's not gas like flatulence, but gas like the acronym. Anyways, this microphone is really good. It's kind of my go-to. Actually, it's not kind of my go-to. It is my go-to. When I film, impromptu interviews, or if I'm filming stuff outside, usually I'll go for like the Hollyland, but since getting this one, honestly, I really like the Godox. And look, it works. It's very compact. I just take this and I take a 3.5mm jack. I can shove this in my pocket, no big deal. It doesn't weigh a whole lot. And honestly, when mounted, especially in the inverse mounting, super discreet. I mean, that magnet on the backside, it's so small. There's no reason that I wouldn't just mount it. And granted, if I really wanted to be even more discreet, I could probably take the magnet and put some like tape or even paint it and then really hide the Godox logo. Not that I'm embarrassed by it by any means, but I could easily do so. But all this to be said, it is your money that's on the line. So ultimately, what do you want? What features do you need? Do you like being able to have a touchscreen, or do you want something that's more bare bones where you're not accidentally switching settings if you're accidentally bumping your camera against something, if you're shoving it inside of your backpack, whatever it may be, sometimes bare bones is better. The Neewer is great because it does have that internal recording. However, it's only at 16-bit, whereas the Godox for only $30 more when they're both on sale sounds a little bit better. It's a little bit smaller. And honestly, I don't know that I would recommend the Neewer over one of the other two unless budget was a massive concern. If you want something that looks professional, if you want to be able to run that lapel, then by all means, the Neewer is the mic for you. However, once you start to expand your budget a little bit, then you start to wonder, which microphone is really best for everyday scenarios. But that's where I need to wrap things up because I actually need to go pack because I'm heading to Europe. So when you're seeing this, I'm actually going to be in Europe. I probably ended up editing this video on a plane, and then while I'm in Europe, I'm actually going to be filming a backpack review. So if you're not subscribed to me and you do want to see that, then obviously click the subscribe button. If you liked this video, be sure to click like, and honestly, let me know in the comments below which microphone you would pick. Let me know if there's something that I didn't say in this video, or maybe there was something that I talked about too much in this video. I'm open to all comments at this point. I'm open to anything. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.